This is the K&F Concept Professional Video Tripod. This is a package, has the VA3 and BV20, so it includes both the tripod that goes up to 75 inches and the video fluid head. And this is a pretty hefty tripod. You know, this box here is about 13.2 pounds, it's 40 inches long. This guy has a load capacity of 22 pounds or 10 kilograms. So this is not for, you know, a small camera. This is really for larger video cameras. Now, I was sent this guy to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, it would cost you about $190. They haven't paid me for my opinions or review, so all of my opinions are my own. Okay, so in the box we have this semi-padded storage case. It has an interior zippered pocket which has some accessories here, like the handle, for example, little instruction manual, some Allen keys. It also comes with these bubble packing things for the front and back of this guy. You probably want to keep these around if you're going to be putting it back in the case. And it comes with a strap that's about 1.5 inches nylon with a little shoulder pad here. Alright, there's the tripod itself. It appears it comes completely assembled with the exception of having to screw on the handle. And you're able to put this handle on either left or right, and you can pick the angle up or down how you want to do that. So with this handle here, you can rotate this guy, and so you can mount it left and right, up or down, however you want. And it does extend out a pretty decent amount. So this is a 75-inch tripod, you know, so you might need a remote monitor to be able to use it up at that height, but it does give you the ability to get well over the top of crowds. So it has two levels of extending legs here. There's the bottom set, like that, and then the top set here, which goes like that. So folded for storage, it looks something like this. Pop it out. So using just the top extenders here, you have double tubes on this leg, and there's the double tube on that leg as well. This is kind of the more typical tripod height right here. So the pan head here, you can lock down at one position, and this adjuster here tells you how much resistance on the fluid head. So here it's set to negative, and it, you know, basically will spin with almost no touch. If I run this thing over to the positive side of things, you start getting just a little bit more resistance, and so you can tie that up really to be quite, you know, a lot of resistance if you want to have very smooth pans there. Now this entire head is on a ball adjuster, so if you loosen this guy down here, you get, you know, a decent amount of adjustability to basically level this guy. There's a little bubble level right there you can use to dial it in case your ground isn't level. So for the tilt head, you can lock that in place with this knob here, and if you unlock that, then you can tilt this guy back and forth. And the amount of resistance to tilt is controlled by this knob, so if you have it turned all the way to the big side, you know, there's a decent amount of resistance there. Now, regardless of how much resistance you have, this guy does have kind of a spring, not to level exactly, but spring to the center. And so if you turn this down to be very limited, you know, it's very easy to move it, but when you get to the end, it still is wanting to spring back kind of to the center point. So the quick release plate comes with both a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 inch stud here, and whichever one you don't want to use, you can simply take out through this opening right there. Now, it's set up for the standard here, but it can also accept RS2 and RS3 quick release plates. You know, this is pretty standard. You snap it in. It is adjustable back and forth for kind of balancing purposes. When you get it to the mark where you want it balanced, you can just tighten this up and it'll lock in place. So when you release this, it's not going to accidentally pop out until you push this button, and then you can just lift it out and put it back in. You put down and snap in place. I always appreciate when they have a built-in Allen wrench. It has a little magnetic holder, so it stays snapped in there with the magnet. It's very easy to pull in and out, so if you need a little bit of a torque to adjust this guy or tighten it on your quick release plate, you always know where your Allen wrench is for that. So in addition to being able to mount the handle on the left or the right side, there's also a 1/4x20 mounting point here for whatever accessories you want. I'm using the 3/8 inch stud there, so I could put this back in the bag, or I can just screw the 1/4 inch stud into this mounting point if I don't have any other accessories, just to keep it with the tripod. So the fluid head is removable. It's a 3/8 inch stud here. And so if you didn't want to use the fluid head, you could mount anything else that would take a 3/8 inch stud on the hemispherical kind of ball leveling plate here. So this little guy here weighs 2.5 kilograms. That's basically a 1/4 of the maximum weight. And it is super easy to move around here. It is nicely balanced straight up and down, but even when I go off of the edge here, it's not like falling off. It has, the spring back is kind of keeping it nicely supported. At 2.5 kilograms, it's springing back almost to vertical here, but it's super easy to control up and down. So I have here an extreme zoom lens on this guy shooting across the lake. And I've turned the dampening arm pretty heavily so that as I move things up and down, most of the vibrations are out of this. And so if you've ever worked with an extreme telephoto lens like this, you know how difficult it can be to keep things steady and smooth. And this guy does a pretty good job with that. So this handle down here, in addition to tightening and loosening the adjustment ball head, is also very nice for lifting up and carrying around your tripod with camera on it. Now it did come with a couple of extra Allen keys, and the only use I can find for those in the manual is if these cam cleats for adjusting the leg length are not tight enough, you can adjust this screw here to tighten them up when you're linked. But right now, out of the box, they're plenty tight and holding well for me. Now, if you are considering this tripod specifically for the C-Star S50, the quick release plate is big enough that it will not be able to rotate past these feet, so you can aim it manually, but it won't work automatically. However, if you take the entire fluid head off and just screw the C-Star onto the top of the tripod itself, there's plenty of room, and the C-Star can rotate all the way around just on top of the tripod. I've been pretty happy with this tripod. Fluid head works very well, very smoothly. The legs extend nicely, and this guy is hefty. It is heavy duty, gives you a lot of stability. It has a lot of height too if you need it. If you put both sets of legs out, that 75 inches, it's really up there. It might be too much of a tripod depending on your use case. If you don't need the super height, if you don't want it to be super hefty like this, this is like 12 pounds or so, so it's definitely a heavy duty tripod, big video head. It can hold, a decent 22-pound payload here. I'm not going to be using it with anywhere near that size and weight of camera, but it definitely would support something like that. So I think it comes down to, do you need this much of a tripod with the full video fluid head? Price-wise, $190 is definitely expensive for a tripod, but this is in that pro line. It's up there. It's not, the carbon fiber, but this is definitely up and into the expensive tripod category. And, that $190 feels about right for what you're getting with this guy.